Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 295 of the Canadian Football Countdown, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network and of the Alternative Football Network. I'm Adam. He's Mike. Tonight, of course, we're doing our Week 8 preview of the Canadian Football League. We'll run through some Week 7 stuff to begin with. I bet you Mike might have an opinion or two on a few things from the previous week. We'll go into Week 8. We'll talk the recap and preview of all what games are going to go on. We'll give you some betting advice. We'll give you some fantasy advice. Of course, take those with a grain of salt and don't ever bet the Ant Farm or bet the Ant Farm. I don't know. It's up to you, I guess. Just don't bet the regular farm. Anyways, and then we'll run through how our fantasy leagues are all doing as we go and have some final thoughts for you. But first things first, let's get together here and talk to Mike. How's things over in Winnipeg today, Mr. Garrell?
To be blunt, the weather was pretty smoky last night. Air quality was 11 plus. It's a little better today. Can somebody please get rid of the smoke here? But I won't be complaining. The other thing I have to say is I think they're pretty impressed with our job last week. So they left us with the keys to the car once again, which may or may not be a shock to some.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Ryan is, of course, still on his 6-game injured list. I didn't expect him to quite make it back this evening. We may pull him off early. We'll see what happens here. And Trey, of course, he's still in the 1-game injured list. It was a game time decision. Couldn't make it. Of course, if this was Mike O'Shea, he probably would be called as questionable and not told until the last second. But hey, let's go with what we got. Trey's, of course, out this week. Ryan's not here. But hey, I'm sure they're going to go and pitch in some stuff as we go along.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I see what I think I'm seeing. I thought he was a game time decision, but it looks like we may just have somebody that wants to join us if he'll give us a thumbs up or a smile. He says he's ready to go. Mr. Trey Colbeck, how was the injury, and are you ready to rumble?
Well, I mean, I watched the debacle last week of you guys trying to set up this show, so I was like, I couldn't let it go on for 2 weeks, man.
He learns.
I can't even find my proper webcam, but I thought I'd come drop in here and make sure you buffoons can actually get the live stream going right. Mike, I think, spent too long away. Adam, your brain's fried from being in the tractor all day. I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah, well, hey,
have to make sure.
This is a true game time decision. Like, the kickoff to the football game just happened, and we didn't know which quarterback was running on the field until the first play of the drive, literally 20 seconds before the play.
Again, like the Blue Bombers of Mike O'Shea.
Yeah, fair enough. Trey, just while we have you here now, we're just going to go improv a little bit. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm good, man. Just, let me see here. Sorry, I'm trying to set this camera up. I lost my webcam, so I'm going off the laptop here. I'm doing good, guys. Doing good. Ready for week 7. Got to bounce back in some fantasy leagues. I don't even know the lines. I don't know the games. I was not prepared for this. I just said, heck with it. I'm going to shock the boys tonight and make an appearance.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not that surprised.
All we needed was Ryan, but unfortunately, Ryan is on the 6th game and is not legally allowed to participate right at the moment in these games. So until we reactivate him, I guess he really can't join us. Too bad. Sucks to be Ryan. But anyways, nevertheless, the Canadian Football Countdown brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Game Time TV. Learn more by visiting GameTimeTV.ca or by following on Facebook at Facebook.com/GameTimeTVMB. And as always, we do want to acknowledge the Canadian Football Countdowns brought to you by Treaty 1 territory, or from Treaty 1 territory, I should say. Traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and the Dene people, and of course, homeland of the Métis Nation, as well as Treaty 4 territory, traditional territory of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, and homeland of the Métis Nation. And hey, if you're looking for more information like betting picks from Ryan, because I didn't see his yet, he didn't come in, or if you're looking for Trey's opinions for his power rankings, even though most times they're wrong, this week they're pretty good, so I won't say much. But if you're looking for any other additional content or top weekly episodes here, you can go and you can check us out on our Discord community. We've got some of the best fans on there. You'll get your instant depth charts when they come out, like pretty much 2 minutes after they come out. It's a competition on seeing who gets their depth charts in first. You're going to get all sorts of information that you maybe didn't see or hear about. You'll get injury reports. You get all sorts of good stuff on our Discord channel. Be sure to check it out. Canadian Football Countdown on the Discord. Yeah, definitely worth the look. Let's move into our Week 7 preview, if that works for you. Our recap, if you guys would like to. First game of the week, we'll just go through quick points here. The Toronto Argonauts were winning a game, and then all of a sudden they lost a game. That's pretty much the summary of it. Went into Montreal, took on the first 3 quarters, and didn't realize that there was 4, I guess, after the game was over, because Alouettes win this one 26-25, but costly win for the Alouettes, Trey.
Sorry, my internet's being classic Trey fashion here. Am I good?
Okay. Yeah, no, you're good on our side.
Yep.
Yep. Good.
Oh.
1.5 thumbs up.
Let's see here.
You know, why don't you just go in and come on? I can.
Yeah, we'll let you relog in, Trey. We'll add you back right away here. Like I said, costly loss or win, I guess, for the Alouettes, eh?
Yeah, no, there's 2 ways to look at this. I think when you have the record that you have, if you're Toronto, you are what your record says you are at a certain point of the season. I'm gonna be careful to phrase the Argos as fragile, because I think that's a word too far. But to me, Adam May had chances to really put this one away multiple times up by certain scores, and they just couldn't do it. And when you leave a team as talented as the Alouettes an opportunity to come back in the game, more times than not, they will enter the front door and take care of business in a little bit of an entertaining way. And it was interesting because Jason Moss said he was very proud of the now injured Davis Alexander. I think, Davis Alexander's not lost as a starter. He set the Canadian Football League record for most wins to start a career. But I think you wait to see what good players do in the face of adversity. And Davis Alexander wasn't the greatest start. I didn't think it was his fault, but when push came to shove was on when required.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like I said, it's one of those games that Montreal will look back at and say, hey, we could rally and we could beat a team that maybe was a little better than us for a few quarters, but hey, we did what we had to do to win the game. Of course, the big one news out of Montreal this week, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, Davis Alexander moved to a 6-game injured list, which is kind of terrible. Trey, anything quickly on the Argonauts Alouettes? Trey might still
can't hear him.
Be a little bit frozen there. We'll chase him down a little bit. He may have some opinions on this next game. I'm sure that Mike has some opinions on this one. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers come off of a bye and beat they didn't beat the Stampeders 41-20 for the Calgary Stampeders. Calgary is riding high. Hey, Mike?
Yeah, you know what? I said it. I said it to friends. I said, if they come into Winnipeg and they beat the Blue Bombers, I will anoint them the CFL's best team because they deserve to be. When you go in, quite honestly, and knock the best team in the West at this point, based on previous track record, around twice in 2 weeks off of a bye where the Bombers haven't lost since 2021 until this game, you deserve to be the CFL's best team. And Yeah, you could say it's a different game when Zach Collaros goes down, yada, yada, yada. The fact of the matter is the Bombers were not prepared to play this game. The Calgary Stampeders went right through the door. To be honest, I felt when it was a 2-point game, but that score, 3-point game, whatever it was in the third quarter there, I thought that flattered the Bombers. I thought they deserved to be down by more. And eventually that defense just couldn't hold it because Strevler and company could not sustain anything offensively. And I hate to say it, I think we revert back to the normal Chris Strevler. I think there's something to be said about Chris Strevler in game number 1 where he had all this time to prepare for the BC Lions, and coming in, his internal clock just seemed to be really, really fast. Again, I always say to people, is it the Calgary Stampeders that good or the Bombers that bad? I think we're about to find out this week. The Stampeders, to me, have been playing at a really high level all season long. Yes, they lost that game in that monsoon rain in Calgary at home to Ottawa. But again, they were right there for the large majority of that game. And Calgary's playing at a really high level right now. And high teams at high levels do what they do. And they take advantage of teams that are not necessarily fully prepared to go. And I think, to be honest, the jury's going to be out on Jordan Younger in the defense this week. To me, I think it was apparent that the
we'll get more into Toronto a little bit later on here when we
to me it was just a little bit apparent that the lot of adjustments on defense for the Blue Bombers, it just seemed like, Vernon Adams has these eyes of deception to completely make defensive backs look like they hadn't played in the CFL, and rightfully so. I think when you get Vernon Adams playing in a system where he's comfortable, getting him into a rhythm. We saw that at the beginning of last year. The BC Lions came out gangbusters and were, the CFL's best team in the first, quarter to half the season, and VA was a large part of that. VA can cultivate guys and get them to sort of play the way, he wants them to play. And to me, Calgary is the best team right now. But will that be the best team in November? We'll see.
Well, just one more quick little question on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers side of the football. Zach Collaros, of course, got injured in this game here. They were thinking neck injury is what I'm seeing over on the status reports. Just a quick, simple yes or no. Was it a bad hit or was it a late hit? The quarterback says yes.
Was it bad? Did it look bad? Yes. Was it late? Yeah. For what do you do? The guy is coming after him. He is within a millisecond. He's there a millisecond after he throws the ball. So if he throws the ball and leaves himself exposed, it's quite honestly, Adam, it's not like he's standing there having delivered the ball and 5 seconds later gets a headshot, right? It's within that allowable window of, okay, he makes the play and he gets hit. So for me, is it nasty? Yes. Is it late? No. And I think a lot of people are just complaining because it's Zach Collaros and, he got hit again. But he's got to be smarter. He can't leave himself susceptible to hits like that.
Fair enough. And I mean, he has had a history of hit injuries before.
Well, the same kind of thing, right? It was the neck injury. And, I thought it was very key, Adam, and I don't want to take too much more time on this, but on the post-game press conference, there was a lot of people saying, I forget who it was of the Winnipeg media with that. They might is it a concussion? How's the concussion? That kind of thing. And Michael Shea said that's purely speculative. We don't speculate if it's a concussion or anything. I don't know. The Bombers have gone out of their way to say it's a neck injury. The truth is somewhere in the middle. The truth, I'll just say this: the truth is somewhere in the middle. I had somebody suggest to me that might be whiplash. Nonetheless, I think it's all connected.
I know I came in late, but how far is whiplash and concussion really on the spectrum?
Your head's getting older. I mean, it's your brain moving around hard, right?
Yeah, I think it's just the play of words more than anything, right? Like if you get in a car crash, you're probably getting whiplash and a concussion. If you're getting a football tackle, you're probably getting whiplash and a concussion. So, I agree. I don't think it was dirty by any stretch of the means. I wouldn't. Oh, cat, get off my computer, you dumbass. Anyway, I don't think it was a late hit by any stretch of the means, but I wouldn't have been surprised if it was called either the way we see football nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been shocked, but the fact that it wasn't called, I'm not mad either.
I think it was just awkward more than anything. It was two guys closing in, and there was nowhere he could go.
Yeah. Fair enough. It's to me, like I said, I don't see anything really late about it. It's just, you know what? It's a football play. Sometimes things happen. I don't like that somebody gets hurt, but hey, that's the way it goes once in a while. Let's move on to the next game here because we do have a little bit of a time crunch. The Rough Riders really did look really good against the BC Lions. 3 minutes. They really had a good bounce back game from this week against Calgary. Which Rough Riders team is this, Trey? Is this the team that beat the BC Lions pretty convincingly? Is it more of the team like the Stampeders or somewhat in between?
I think they're just below right now until we see them play, like really face off against each other. It's kind of hard to compare the two. But if I have to put a number, like if I had to pick one, I put Calgary over Saskatchewan. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked either if these teams split their series, this season either. So, sorry, I got both kittens. Maybe this was a bad idea. Just going every which way. But that's kind of my thoughts here is they could be either which way here.
The thing for me, and I heard this word coming out of Regina after the Calgary game was we got out physical. That was some of the discussion from what I was hearing on certain outlets that cover the Riders quite extensively. We got out physical. I think that just goes back to what I was saying. That's just a really good Calgary team playing at a really high level, and a Rider team a Rider team in my mind that overcame a lot of questions, right? Because it was 4-0 last year. 5-0 was the last time they won the Grey Cup. 4-0 last year, they lost. How do you come back off a loss? And to me, this was a really, really good bounce back. And I think right now the Riders are the second best team in the West until just like Trey said, until we see those 3 games between the Bombers and the Riders head to head in the back half of the year in September and then in October. So, but the biggest thing for me and what sort of strikes me, and we can talk about this sort of later in the week or later on, sort of in our preview. I think we're going to see this week just how big that gap is between 4 and 5 in the West, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's. Because I think if you annoyed that there's going to be the possibility of a crossover, I think it's way too early. I think it's very possible there's a crossover, but to say that there'd be a crossover, not necessarily. But again, we'll talk about that because we want to talk about one of the games this week, and pretty much I think the last stand for somebody.
Fair enough. Really, I'll go and I'll just say, wait till August 23rd. We'll see who's the better team out of Calgary and Saskatchewan. And of course, Saskatchewan's got a pretty good, tough schedule at this August. Other than Edmonton here, you've got Hamilton, Montreal, Calgary, and then you get the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, that's a pretty good schedule to go and test your mettle on, with the exception of maybe the Ottawa Red Blacks mixed in there. Anyway, let's move on to the last game of the pre here.
Just the final thing. You're not going to apologize to anybody for winning this time of year.
No.
Either, right?
No, not a bit. And I mean, these are the games you got to win because later on it gets a whole lot tougher after September 1st or August 31st in this case. But
For sure.
if you look, we'll move on to the last game, Ken, real quick here. Hamilton Tiger Cats, Ottawa Red Blacks. Yes, the Ticats won 30-15. There's been one thing everybody's been talking about, though, online. Deshaun Amos's hit on Drew Brown, knocking him. I don't know if he was out, but he definitely was knocked out of the game. Probably going to go on a little bit of an injury list for a little while. Again, I asked the same question like I asked with Caleros. Dirty hit, yes, no. And if it was a dirty hit, what's the punishment? Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah, I will. Dirty, no. Violent, yes. I think it's one of those that looks worse than it is. I think it looks worse than it is because his helmet comes off. I mean, what's the guy supposed to do? He's running 100 miles an hour unprotected around the end. And if the quarterback doesn't see him fast enough, that's what's going to happen. And when his helmet goes flying, it makes it worse. Is it a dangerous hit? Is it a late hit? No. Is it a violent hit? Yes. When have we suddenly become what's he supposed to do? Back off? He's coming at him. Drew doesn't necessarily see him till the last minute as his helmet goes flying. Maybe defend the guy from running so fast and so hard into you. I mean, he went unprotected around the end. He had 2 seconds, and then it was like, boom, he was in his face, and then next thing you know, there was the collision. Like, we might as well, if we're going to talk about the same hit in the same vein, we might as well start putting flags on quarterbacks, and you can only grab the flag and not the body. That's the way I see it. You can be unhappy about the hit all you want. 25-yard penalty, absolutely. Okay, I like that call. The grade 2 roughing the quarterback, but again, unprotected. He's coming unprotected off the edge. The part that really, really was interesting to me was not necessarily the hit afterward. It was what happened afterward. Nobody went over to Amos to do anything about it. To me, that says volumes. If that's anybody else, pick your team, and your quarterback gets smoked like that, to me, I would expect a little bit of a response in the physicality, even if it's an offensive lineman going over there and saying, oh, hey, what are you doing? Don't hit my quarterback like that. To me, the lack of a response from a hit like that, late or not, is very, very concerning. And I think it speaks to where the Ottawa Red Blacks are as a team right now.
Trey, got some thoughts on the hit?
Not that really, other than I think the craziest hit of the week was the Jeffersons on the guy, right? Like, I think that was the craziest looking hit out of anything. And to me, the one on Caleros was fine. And this one, again, this is a football play. Like, I think a question was, why was his helmet not buckled up? Why is it flying off like that more than anything?
Like, to me, Trey, and sorry to cut you off, the helmet was already flying off before he even gets there.
Well, yeah, it again, you and I can attest how many times did Andrew Harris's helmet fall off because he didn't wear it right. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Wear the damn helmet right. I don't like it. You're right. It's football. At some point, it's going to be flags. And I don't, maybe this is just me where guys, I come from.
I'll go devil's advocate on both.
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me cook.
Nothing.
Because like maybe this is me where I.
Yep. That was me,
like,
my bad.
Jeez. I was like, okay, just let me cook, man. And this could be me coming from a guy who I enjoy a sport where 2 men are put in a cage and they beat the living piss out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
These are grown men. Okay? Grown men. These aren't kids. This isn't rec hockey. This isn't youth football. These are grown men getting paid more than the average person still to play the game. I don't sure, there should be safety precautions. Sure, there should be all this. Wear your damn helmet, put your mouth guard in, tell your offensive lineman to frickin' block for you. And then, Your helmet goes flying off. It's more of a cosmetic play because I think if they don't throw the flag, they're probably worried the PA would be on their ass. Mm-hmm. Right? That's probably what it is. But Adam, you be devil's advocate.
It's one of those that looks worse. It looks worse in that moment because you got to throw the flag. Right? He's down, the helmet goes flying. It's almost a reactionary thing to throw the flag right away.
Okay, Adam.
Okay, so here's my thing on it, guys. The hit itself, a hit is a hit. I don't care about that. You cannot, in the CFL or in the NFL or in the CJFL or in the U Sports or any of them, lead with your helmet. That's what he did in this play. He went helmet to helmet and led with it. If he hit him in the shoulder, hit him in the helmet with the shoulder, I got no problem with this play. If he goes and nails him and knocks the helmet off with his shoulder, fine, go ahead. That's your own problem then. But here's my thing. If you're going to go and put that helmet and launch it square into the guy's grill, you're going to get a suspension. You should get an ejection at minimum. That's what they're trying to avoid in the CFL right now. Right. That part is what I'm going on. The rest of the hit, I didn't mind. And don't give me this about him ducking down and going and doing. He's still leading with his helmet. He cannot lead with. That's what Willie Jefferson's play, why it looks so bad, because he's leading. If you're not leading with your helmet, this is what Adam Bighill did for so many years that drove Rider fans insane. Adam Bighill would usually lead with his helmet. Guess what? You can't do that. If you didn't do that, the play's fine. That being said, right now how it is with him leading with the helmet, it should be at least a big fine right now. I mean, it should have been an ejection right then and there.
How the hell do you tackle without leading? No, how the hell do you tackle? Never mind, whatever. I played football in high school for 4 years. I don't know how the hell you can tackle without somewhat lunging forward. And that's coming from me who hasn't played in 12 years. And these guys are world-class athletes. Like, I don't know. I'm getting sick.
You're not hitting with the head.
Fair. But one of these defensive lines are going to tear an ACL or something trying to hold up, and I don't want to hear about it anymore because I just think it's ridiculous. I get the leading with the head. I get player safety, but I almost bet, and I get protecting your star players, but I bet the hits that between the O-line and the D-line that they do every goddamn play is way more damaging than what Drew Brown took. So get rid of that then.
Enough,
why don't we get rid of that?
If you see an O-lineman and a D-lineman going helmet, somebody's getting knocked out.
That's what I'm saying. If it's truly
player safety, when those two big boys hit, somebody's going down hard.
That's what I mean, though. But they do that every play. So get rid of that. Let's screw it. Let's screw it. Flag football, or what's the South Park game where they make up that stupid version of football?
You can hit a guy, but you can't hit him with your helmet.
Whatever.
That's my thing. You just can't hit a guy right in the helmet. But we can't go on.
I think it's a pretty clear scenario of we can agree to disagree on this play.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever works for you guys. Let's move on, though, because we got to get going here. It's week 8 in the CFL. Lots of great games this week. First one up is the Montreal Alouettes going out to Cowtown to play the Calgary Stampeders. So the Red Hot Stampeders versus a Davis Alexander-less Montreal Alouettes team. This should be all Calgary all the time, right, Trey?
Yeah, but if you asked me this 3 or 4 weeks ago and you said, or even 5 weeks ago and said, oh, Montreal is going to be almost a touchdown underdog against Calgary, how they started, and my low expectations of Calgary, I would have thought you were on drugs. But no, yeah, should be all Calgary. Could be one of those games that might end up being a little closer just because it is the CFL and I don't know, watch MBT cook against a team that used to be his provincial rival, right? Like, I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe he kind of knows Calgary a little bit, but I still think it should be all Calgary. And I think this is just a game where in the standings, though, this game could be close, right? It's still a 5-1 versus a 4-2 team, regardless of who's starting and who's not starting. Montreal might have one of the better backup quarterbacks if you want to look at it across the league. Well, who's better? I would take MBT over Strevler. I would take him over Mazzoli. I'd take him over probably everybody but Cody, maybe. Right? So, I mean, I think Montreal could still hold up in this game. But, yeah, you're right, Adam. Should be Calgary's game. Mike?
Yeah, the thing that jumps out to me is MBT's 0-2 and Davis Alexander's 4-0. Then I looked at the other scenario. Like one of those two games, NBC didn't have Tyson Philpo. He's got him back. This is the battle of the Philpo brothers. Montreal's defense, I think, they didn't have a lot to say. That's what I'm most excited for in this game is the defense versus defense. Bob, forget his last name, at the DC in Calgary against Noel Thorpe. I think this line is right where it should be for what we are expecting, and I think this is a 3.5, maybe 2, maybe a pick 'em if David Alexander's playing this team.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like this matchup here, D versus Vernon Adams. Tyrese Beverett, watching him line up against Vernon Adams. He might be saying that all night, Trey. Ow, 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 ow. But we'll see what happens here. Nevertheless, Vernon Adams has looked absolutely almost unstoppable at times. They always keep saying good Vernon, bad Vernon. I haven't seen bad Vernon for a very, very long time now. One thing I did want to bring up, though, on the CFL page this week, they had their front runners for the most outstanding Canadian so far. We can talk about who's been in the lead in that one. It's Nathan Rourke. But Damian Alford didn't even get a vote or even a spot on the chart. I think that's an outrage myself. You guys?
Yeah, it is. He's had, what is it now? 2 multi-touchdown games and one game with a single in the last. And you have to wonder where his pecking order would be on the field if Reggie Badleton was healthy and if Malik Henry was healthy. Like, would this even be a discussion? Because I think if you really look at it, Calgary versus where they are now, on paper, I think without their 2 best receivers coming into the season, and if you would have told me they would have 1 loss, and I think they're 5-1 now, 5-1, yeah, that sounds right. But again, it's a credit to depth guys. I think if you want to talk about Alfred, I think you could also talk about Eric Brutz. The resurgence of Dedrick Mills. Remember, he left that team last year for personal reasons. I think he was a massive wild card to even come back and to see him reinvigorated, and they have a multi-pronged attack. Looks like it's going to be, as I learned tonight, just one Antwi, a former Alouette, as backup this week. Montreal's defense, in my mind, keeps this close, but the way the teams are playing now, I like Calgary to protect this line a little bit.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I had missed that article, and just looking at it now, I don't take any stock in it because they just literally picked one player from each position. Like, I think they already had someone from Calgary in why is my mouse being stupid? In Adrian Green, and they already had a receiver in Kevin Mitel. So I think it was just an article piece, because I think if you actually looked at it from a bigger standpoint, like Alfred, of course, would be on the short list of it. The only thing maybe it would be that weird thing, like, remember when the argument of Rourke, MOC, MOP, are they just going to keep him as rookie of the year and not, get into that category? But I think he's been one of the better stories of one of the better stories coming out of the CFL right now. First overall pick. How many times do we talk about first overall picks busting in this league too? Right? Wasn't number 1 overall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. How many of them bust over the years in any sport, let alone the CFL? And no, that's good to see. And I'm glad he sits on Team Trey in fantasy.
I was waiting for that one. Hold on, now I'm waiting to come out.
We're all impressed. Anyways. Yeah. We're all. Anyways. Anything else we need to bring up in this game here, or let's get into fantasy players to watch?
No,
I think we should get into fantasy players to watch.
We did it in the fantasy.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I think there's one player. Yeah, no, we'll go into fantasy. One player probably to watch here that I can see. Probably over on the Calgary side of the football. We just mentioned him. I really do like Damian Alford. I think he's one guy that we need. That a guy always wants on his team. I think right now he's hot, and Ferdinand seems to find the moose every time that he's looking for him. Definitely one of the pickups on my team this week. On the Montreal side, really have a whole lot. I don't mind Sean Thomas Erlington, although facing a Calgary defense like it has been lately for playing running backs. I mean, they shut down Brady Oliveira and they shut down AJ Alouettes. Take that as you will. I don't know. You probably don't want to, but boy, there's a little bit of a premium on dollars this week for the players if you want some decent or different looking players. So we'll see how it goes here. But I might also pick up Sean Thomas Erlington. We'll see how it goes. Trey, anybody that you're looking at in this game?
No. Well, Alfred, like you said, Sean Thomas Erlington, nice little value play at only 7,000 and a little bit. If you have the money, man, I think VA might be a good choice too. I don't know if quarterbacks if Alfred's catching 2 touchdowns, who's throwing it to him, right? So I think that's kind of the way I would go. There's always the interception problem with VA too, but he seems to make up enough yards the other way. And maybe look at Calgary defense if you're looking for a play. Like, I know they're really expensive, and I know we him and Ha about, do you go with the team on buy or the lower value, or what do you do? But if you're not sold on MBT, they might get some points that way. Mike?
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. Where do we sit on Dedrick Mills as a running back option fantasy wise? And the reason I say that is in our fantasy league, as far as like pitching a team every week, that's different. In our Discord lead, I have trouble valuating. If that's the right word. Valuating what a decent running back. 1 week I put in AJ Alouette and he doesn't perform. I put in Brady Oliveira and he gets hurt. Dedrick Mills doesn't necessarily get the carries. How do we make any consistency out of what has been the running back position? And I'm saying that generally, but as a way to sort of bring that back to what I think has been one of the surprises of the year running back in Dedrick Mills.
I don't know. I honestly think the running back might disappear from the CFL before any other NFL football league, just because the amount of no running you see from some teams, especially when they're down 2 scores, right? And I just, if you don't have Oliveira or Alouette, sure, Dedrick Mills is great, but did any of us see this out of him last year? No, like, it's such a shock, right? Like, and what do you say, Mike? Their lifespan's 2 to 3 years. Will we see Dedrick Mills do this next year? I'd bet no.
Well, as I remember, we could have been sitting here last year this time and saying, "Oh, Dedrick Mills is never going to play in the CFL again." He just basically left this team for personal reasons. And
yeah, fair. So
here he is being one of the top running backs in the league this year on the best team in the CFL. It's interesting. It's just interesting how we do that, right? It's almost like you said, you gotta hope and pray that they don't fall behind by 2 touchdowns, because that changes the complete game plan all the way around, and the game plan goes completely out the window. So, but though I will say this, Alford and VA, I think, are the smarter plays over Dedrick Mills if I had to pick somebody from this game. And Montreal, for me, Tyson Philpo's been a little bit quiet. too quiet of late. He came out gangbusters in the first 2 weeks, and quite honestly, really hasn't looked the same.
Perfect. Well, let's move on then, I guess, over
Yep.
to betting. Trey, do you want to run through how we did last week? Because I know you're the betting expert here.
Well, let me see here.
If you got that up, I can.
I do. I can get on my phone. I didn't write down Mike, so I don't. Mike got off the hook if he had a bad week. So I had. Plus, it's not fair. It's hard to compare 1 week versus 7 weeks. So actually, against the spread, you and I, Adam, went 3-1. I think the only one we had wrong was Winnipeg. We both thought they would win that one. That's where we had wrong. Ryan, he's went 1-3. He's not doing too good. The coin went 2-2 in straight pick'em. Over under. Adam, you went 2-1-1. We had our first push this year of the year, and me and Ryan went 1-2-1 with the push, which puts our season totals. You and I are tied against the spread at 17-10. Ryan's at 12-15. Coyden's at 15-12. The over-unders, you're the only one making money so far at 14-12-1, while me and Ryan are both at 12-14-1. Did some overall percentage wins. Adam, you 58.5% correct rate. That's not bad. You're making cash. I'm 54.7 making cash, and poor Ryan 45.3. He's got to get that around. I mean, it could be worse. You know how many guys I've met at the racetrack who would kill to be batting 45%? So I mean, it's okay, Ryan. You could get better.
You know, Trey, we always make this joke on our hockey show because and not to get too far into the weeds here. I had told you this, Adam. I'm not sure if I told you this on the podcast or off of it last week. Our playoff picks were under 50%. People shouldn't be calling us experts at that rate. We're just a bunch of you-know-whats, but I have a podcast that somewhat have opinions, I guess. So doesn't matter the sport. Always seems to be interested in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to point out that 58.5 right now. If you have a 0.585 win percentage in the American League East in the MLB, you're in first place right now. So just saying.
Coming off another win against the Yankees, and it gives them the season series. So hello, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Pretty well. Anyways, after our MLB talk, let's get into betting here. Yep. I'll go first just to open this up. If you're looking for Ryan's, he'll give you his over on the Discord channel sometime later this week. I'm going to go 6.5. I'm going to go with Montreal Alouettes in this one here to cover at least. And I will go with the over in this game here. This could be become a shootout. And hey, McCall Bethel-Thompson traditionally does have pretty good games against the Calgary Stampeders. So yeah, give me the over on this one here. Trey, what do you got?
Yeah, I'll take the over for sure. I think even though I think Calgary, I guess this is a pretty low score because most have been in the 50s lately. So I guess they're saying that they think Calgary. You know, I'm going to go with the under. Actually, I'm going to change that. Because I'm thinking about they're saying MBT won't put up any points against Calgary. That's likely what this line is because we all know Calgary is going to put up 30 points on their own. So I'll go under. And heck with it. I'm going to take Calgary by the touchdown. I'm really interested in what Ryan would say because this is getting into the territory of the spreads he hates. But I'll take Calgary minus 6.5. Mike?
Yeah, I like Calgary to win here by more than a touchdown. Just for reference, the weather tomorrow at kickoff, 23 degrees, sunny, wind from the southeast, 7 going to 14. So, translation, if this holds, pretty good night for football. Expect an aerial show between Bethel-Thompson, who put up 300 yards, just as easy as VA tread. I like Calgary to win by a touchdown, and I like the over at 49.5 too. So I'm thinking like 45 would be 20 and 20. 25 and 25 would put it at 50. I'm kind of thinking a 31-23, 31-24 type of game.
Perfect. All we got left to do is flip a coin. Let's see what the coin says tonight. It's going with the Montreal Alouettes in this one here. We will see what happens. Coin traditionally does make you money. Just saying. Well, but it makes you some. Anyway, let's move on here so we can get into the. What's that? Sorry, Trey?
It makes more money than Ryan.
Fair enough. Just don't ask the coin to pick fantasy players. For the less. Let's move on to our next game of the week. It's the Edmonton Elks traveling down the highway and heading to go into flatland country. They'll be taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders for Friday night football. This game to me has trap written all over it, doesn't it, guys?
I said it before, 9.5 is disrespectful.
It's disrespectful to Saskatchewan. What are you talking about?
Why? You think this should be more?
Oh, God. This is Alabama versus pick your D2 team, man. What are you talking about?
Oh. Trey coming with the spices tonight. Have
we been watching the same Edmonton this year?
No, I just think it's a very, very disrespectful line. I mean, the more I think about this, if it's 28-14 or something of that nature, 35-21, something of that nature, it made sense.
So the line makes sense now.
Well, okay. Who's the quarterback for Edmonton is the question. They've kind of kept us under wraps. Is it Fajardo? Is it Ford? Does it matter? Against the Rider team, it's kind of found a deer now last week. I don't know this one.
I'll be honest. I don't think it really matters on the quarterback. They split reps so the whole week. Trey Ford, Cody Fajardo. I'm sure Fajardo would love to chance to go and try to hit a goalpost in Saskatchewan again, and I'm sure that Trey Ford also would like to have a chance to get hit in Saskatchewan again, like he did the one game. No, I'm kidding. I'm just being a jerk now as a Rough Rider fan.
The best thing for Edmonton to stand a chance. Fajardo starts. They struggle in the first half. Ford comes off the bench. The Trey Ford off the bench is money.
Very true. Saskatchewan injury-wise, I mean, here comes another one. Zach Fry looks like he's going to be out this week. Add him into the blender of Canadian offensive linemen that the Saskatchewan Roughriders seem to go through every season. And although they did get a back injury, a little bit of injury news today, Jameer Thurman was seen walking around with a boot. Will actually go, though, on Friday night. Apparently toe injury. Everybody else looks like it's going to be pretty well the same as against BC. Devon Campbell, all those guys all look healthy. Over on the Edmonton side of the football, Jake Seresna has been practicing for the Elks. I can guarantee you that they will not say, just like their quarterback, if Seresna is going to go until Friday night at about probably 5 p.m. the game starts. So they'll probably let you know at 4:58 if he's actually probably going to go or not. Overall, though, Trey, any thoughts on this game besides, like I said, I still think this is going to be a trap game. Saskatchewan traditionally does not play good against Edmonton. I don't know why. At home, we've lost games against Edmonton when we shouldn't have. Tell me why this isn't a trap.
I could see the sense. Edmonton's coming off the bye. I guess Cody playing his old team if he starts. So I could see it. I just don't. Oh, what the heck? Sorry, I'm getting bit on the toe. Here. Stupid kittens, man.
The cats are biting.
I could see it. I have no faith in Edmonton, man. Like, there's a couple other teams that only have one win in this league that I would be more worried about upsetting Saskatchewan at home than Edmonton. And I don't know, because to me, Trey Ford's not it. I'm kind of leaning towards some of the other people who don't understand why the leash is so long, like, on him. I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm not saying he couldn't work. I think he might need a change of scenery, to be honest. So, like, how many times have we seen that? Cody, on the other hand, I don't know. Again, too, you got to think that something might be wrong there, where he lost his job in Montreal. Sure, to a young up and comer. I kind of thought it was a little wild, but I get it. And now he's competing with another young up and comer, and it's not even guaranteed that he's the starter. So, like, to me, is either option really, really sound?
Here's my question.
Yeah.
And I hate to pull this to Winnipeg, but I'll say Calgary just to remove the bias. Are we having the same discussion, swap out Trey Ford and VA, if Ford is the quarterback in Calgary? Like, to me, I wonder, does it really matter who the quarterback is in Edmonton until they get the talent fixed around the quarterback? Like, to me, I don't know. Like, I do not think that we can evaluate a quarterback until we have some stability around them. Like, how can we expect the quarterback to perform at a very high level if the team around them isn't necessarily performing at a high level? I just is my question. Like, if we don't think Cody can get it done, if we don't think Trey Ford can get it done, is it a question of the team around him?
Yeah, Edmonton, I think, needs to really reevaluate from head to toe, but I don't think that also changes. Like, I think if you put VA on Edmonton, do I think their record would flip? No, but do I think they would look a hell of a lot better? Yeah. Like, I think you could look better.
So then
right now, I think that Edmonton, if Edmonton had a actual, full, legitimate franchise quarterback, again, maybe a Trevor Harris, maybe it's a Vernon Adams or a Nathan Rourke. If they had somebody like that on their team, would they be better? Yes, I think they would have a few more wins. Would they be all-star and be the team to contending for the first place in the West? No. The offensive line is still not good. I don't know what happened with their run game. All of a sudden, they decided Justin Rankin can't run. I don't know. Hope they fix that at least a little bit during the bye week. And their receiving core, I mean, they got some pieces, but they needed a superstar. Unfortunately, they didn't. They annoyed him, and he went to Ottawa. So Edmonton's got some work to do still in their rebuild, and the quarterback is some of the issue, but not all of the issue as far as I'm concerned. Let's move on to fantasy here real quick.
Yep.
I think there'll be some players here that we're going to be taking, probably, and maybe not. Defenses. I don't usually like taking defense that I think is going to get destroyed. But boy, Edmonton's cheap, and I need cheap defense this week, I think. Is Edmonton the right pick? I asked Ryan this earlier, but he wouldn't really give me an answer. Is it cheapest defense available, or do you pick up a defense that might get you a point or two? I don't know. I think I go cheapest defense available. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Here's where I sit. I was very close to picking up a defense that's on a bye last week, for fear of a defense running in the negative. Yes, buying my defense, but I wound up pitching is got a +2 last week, and then you get the other end of the spectrum where the Calgary defense that then scored an 18 or a 19 last I checked. I don't know if I like Edmonton's defense, and this is from my perspective, playing a quarterback that routinely throws for 2 touchdowns and 300 yards as a baseline. And if that's a defense that's on the field more often because their offense cannot move the ball, I think that's another whole discussion in itself. I do, however, like the Saskatchewan defense in this game against a team that seems to struggle offensively. But if I could turn the tables on this discussion a little bit. So I think defense for me in general, as a rule of thumb, is more, not to give away state secrets here if anybody in the Discord league is watching, but it's mostly for me a defensive matchup game for me versus a safe pick. I cannot make the suggestion that Edmonton will be a safe pick defensively despite their cheap price because quite honestly, I could see the Riders putting up 35 or 40 points and then you're at a negative scoreline if you don't force any turnovers. So does that kind of answer your question a little bit there, Adam?
Yep. Trey, any thoughts on players you're going to take this week?
Oh man, I'm taking the Rough Rider defense, I think, if possible. I mean, I think that's another one too, if not Calgary. And probably receiver. I'm looking at Myers on Saskatchewan, maybe Emelis, depending on, like lineup and stuff. I haven't fully decided, but one of their receivers. I think, again, that you just said this could be 40-point game. Well, who's catching the ball? So you got to figure out which guy might catch the ball for a touchdown or two. I'm him and Han Harris as well. I've never been sold on him, and I hate that I'm not because he keeps screwing me over in some fantasy league or not, but maybe that way. But I'm for sure got the defense and as of now, Myers.
Stop me with the Matt Nichols comparison to Trevor Harris at this age, please. But I see a lot of comparisons between those two. He doesn't really do a lot to lose the game. He can win you a game. For me, you know what you're going to get with him. For me, I would take Trevor over some of these other quarterbacks in the CFL right now. To me, there's only one game where he was sort of down and not having a great statistical game, but I think that was the Calgary game where his offense kind of let him down. They have multiple drives inside field goal range where they either turned the ball over or had to take a field goal, and Brett Lotter couldn't take a field goal in that game. But I'll say this. Trevor Harris is likely to be my quarterback this week over some of the other options that are presently out there.
Okay, so yeah, my picks essentially in this for this game here. I'll just give them to you quickly. It's Trevor Harris. I'm going to take the quarterback. I think he's probably going to have a very good game. I would like to take AJ Alouette in this one. I don't know how I can afford him and some other players that I've got, so we will see on that one. And the other one pick that I do have is Dante Myers. He had an absolutely exceptional game against the BC Lions. Sorry, Mike.
I know. I'm just whatever players I cut every week, expect them to light it up in that street. That's just the way it's been for me this year.
You know what? It happens. Once in a while, I get those weeks. So, anyway, no, I think Dante Myers might have another big week. Keyshawn Johnson's look good too, though. And but again, both of them are starting to get up there in price. I think Keyshawn Johnson's 11,000, and Dante Myers, I believe, is about 10.3 somewhere there. So definitely getting up there in price. Would like to take one. I don't know if I will or not. Edmonton side of the football.
Where are we on Robustelli?
You got to remember.
Where are we on Robustelli?
He's okay. He's definitely making it very tough for the Rough Riders to put Sean Bain Jr. in.
Fair enough.
As far as I'm concerned.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's done what he's needed to do on the outside wideout. I mean, you can't ask for more for what he's doing right now when there's something that needs to be done. It seems like for Robustelli is there, and it's been very good so far for the Rough Riders. Let's move into betting though, because we are going to be running late here. Otherwise, pretty straightforward one here. 9.5. Big lead for the Rough Riders on this one here. Mike, go ahead, take your pick and give us the over/under.
I am going. Sask will carry this 9.5 as far as I'm concerned. I have it about a 10 to 14 point game, and I'm going to go over just from a standpoint. But this is the type of game that I can see the Riders putting up 40.
That's a big change from this line is disrespectful, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm going to take the exact same as Mike because I think this line's disrespectful to the Rough Riders. I will take Saskatchewan minus 9.5, and I'll take the over. Adam,
I'm going to go with the Edmonton Elks. I think this is still a trap game. I don't like the shots.
Oh.
I'm not playing reverse psychology or nothing on this. I really am worried about the Rough Riders and 9.5 points. That's pretty high, especially when I've seen Edmonton. What was the last game that Edmonton played in Saskatchewan? Edmonton went in. They had a fumble on a kickoff. Otherwise, the Riders would have lost. Or they gave away a single point or something like that. Otherwise, the Riders probably would have lost that game. And that was well under 7 points for a loss for the win for the Rough Riders. So, you know what? I'm going to go with the Elks. I'm going to go with the over on this game here. I still think that probably this game is going to go crazy. Who knows? I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, but I'm sure maybe Ryan will try to convince me otherwise. I should take the Elks. The coin. Let's see what it's got. Hey, drop that. Even the coin agrees with both of you that it's going to take the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. It's probably going to be the Riders. I just not sure. I have a funny feeling this is really a trap game. Anyways, with that being said, let's move on to our third game of the week. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers heading out to Toronto to take on the Toronto Argonauts. Trey, what's your thoughts going into this one here? I guess we do know that Zach Collaros is healthy enough to probably play. Although it is Mike O'Shea, and he likes playing games. Is this a game or is it Zach Collaros?
I think he's fine to play. I think that would be. They're usually pretty precautious of the quarterback. I know they play games, but I think they're usually pretty precautious with him. And if it was anything where the league would make concussion protocol and stuff, obviously he's past it. If from that standpoint, so I think it's their game. But honestly, this one smells more trap game to me because Nick Arbuckle always seems to have the Bombers number lately, and it doesn't seem like Kelly's in. I don't know why I made that trade with you, Adam, but I don't think Kelly's starting anytime soon. It seems like, Nick Arbuckle seems to have the Bombers number. This is in Toronto. What happened last week? The Argos coming off a nail biter, against Montreal, and the Bombers both teams are coming off a loss, but one was more of an ass kicking than the other. So I just think that this is a very interesting game, and I want to know which Winnipeg we're getting. Are we going to get the one? I mean, are we getting the one that put up decent numbers against the crappy teams like BC and Edmonton early? Or are we getting the one who gets thumped by the Stamps? So it's very interesting, Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I think Collaros plays in this game. I think. To me, this is what I'm watching. I'm watching the two defenses. The Bombers, for obvious reason, need to bounce back. Toronto defense, I think, needs to help their offense a little bit. The Sutton Apper defense was unable to make any stops because they weren't playing very complimentary football, as far as I'm concerned. This is two desperate teams. I think this should be one great game, and spoiler alert to where I think the line is. I think this line is right where it should be, within 5.5. Over under 52.5 sounds pretty reasonable too.
I'm starting to believe more in Trey on this one here, that this could be a real trap game. Right. Nick Arbuckle traditionally has Winnipeg's number for some reason. You look at the receivers in this one. I think probably right now it's advantage Toronto, to be honest with you. Devontae Coxey, David Unger, you've got Kevin Mytel, who's had a great season so far. I think there's probably a lot of good Tavares Daniels. There's a lot of good picks over on the Toronto side for the football. The only question I've got really for the Argonauts is your defense okay, especially with missing Witten McManus? Sounds like he probably will be out this week. If he is, that's a big hole to fill. Other than that, though, I think Toronto honestly has a chance to win this one. Yeah, could be a definite trap game here. Anything else to go through on this game, guys?
Is anybody able to track what exactly Toronto's doing at running back this week?
I believe it'll be Deontay McMahon that'll be playing for the Argonauts as starting running back.
Because there was a report that he had left the game injured last week, and they released Kevin Brown to get Matt Mahan back on the roster. That's interesting, right? Because I think it's going to be a matter of whoever scores first, and then you're going to be able to kind of keep it time of possession wise, right? With both those types of running backs. I just think there's a lot of pressure on Winnipeg defense to right the ship here. And that's what's going to make this very interesting, for sure.
Right. Anything else you got on this game?
Nope. I'm pretty good.
Perfect. Well, hey, we're going to get into a quick one here. Let's go into fantasy players to watch. I did mention Witten McMahon, not Witten McManus. I did mention Deontay McMahon earlier. I think he's actually a pretty good pick in this game. Winnipeg gives up on an average of 94 yards a game on the ground, which sounds pretty high, but honestly, it's the fourth best in the CFL. I don't know if that's going to be a trend to continue. If it is, McMahon would be a good pickup. The thing I don't like, though, is that McMahon and the Argonauts are absolutely dead last in running the football, and by quite a bit. I think it's like 295 yards total they have all season so far, which is kind of a stunning stat that's all that they have for running. They do pass the ball out of the backfield, though, quite a little bit on hitches and screens and everything else. So maybe McMahon's not a bad pickup. Wouldn't be the worst, I don't think. One other guy from Winnipeg that I probably would put on the lineup would be Nick Dembski. I don't know. I just have a funny feeling about him this week. Definitely worth looking at. But also, gotta watch the budget. Lots of expensive players so far this week. He may be pretty expensive as well, especially if you are looking at the last game of the week and a certain receiver that you want on that one. Trey, what do you got in your fantasy this week from this one?
Yeah, just same as you. McMahon on the running back, and maybe Coxey if you could fit him in. Right now, I can't. I mean, I wish I could have an extra receiver over running back. How bad running backs have been, but yeah, he's kind of my fourth receiver right now in my lineup. Mike?
Okay.
Yeah, I have a really stupid hard time believing that there's going to be a containment on Brady Oliveira. The question is, but what kind of scares me is his price. Matt Mahan over Brady Oliveira as far as price goes right now, but I also like Carrot Wheatfall. My I kind of run into the same type of pickle that I am with Saskatchewan, and that is like who's gonna get the ball when all is healthy and all is clicking. Maybe Nick Dembski for me. I like my tail for sure. I actually won my Discord lead with David Uge as my flex last week. Something else to kind of keep in mind for two teams that really like to distribute the ball fairly efficiently.
Okay. Well, hey, let's get into betting here and see what we've got in this one here. Let's make the coin go first because I've never had him actually ever go first. So let's see what it says, and then we'll decide who we're going to pick for betting in this one. Give it a flip here. And it is going with the home team, the Toronto Argonauts. Coin seems to like the Argos. I think that's a few times that it's picked it already. Mike, who do you got first in this one?
Yeah. I like Toronto in this game. I do. I say that as the diehard of the diehard Bomber fans, and anybody that knows me knows that. Anybody else that's been around me in the last 2 weeks knows how completely unhappy I am with the way they have played against the Calgary Stampeders. And to be honest, I have a complete nightmare about Nick Arbuckle tearing us apart last November. For the most part, after Zach Collaros left the game with that hand injury. The one thing that gives me solace is I think that, you can put the ball in the air on the Toronto defense a little bit. I don't think they're as good there as they have been in the past. But to me, this is a 27-23 sort of Toronto game with Zach Collaros maybe throwing a unfortunate interception for some bizarre reason unknown to me. That's, I think, been the most interesting part is Stravler had a couple touchdowns there last week and he was intercepted inside the 20-yard line. And, Collaros even had a pick, I think, before he was forced to leave the game, and he had 2 picks returned in the game before that. So, to be honest, if I'm making a bit of a prop bet, which I don't do that often, I'm liking the Zach Collaros anytime interception, if that is presented to me of any opportunity, to be completely honest. But no, I'm going Toronto 27, 24, 28, 24, something like that.
So that would be 27.
That gives you the under?
20, that would be
under, I think.
No, I think that's under. Okay. Perfect. Trey, who do you got?
Give me the Argos and under. For everything Mike said.
We agree
guys,
for once.
I guess the Argos and the Argos are going to lose or beat the Bombers. Is this the cover? Is this the?
Mike says we agree for once, and we have the exact same 3 picks on all games so far. So.
Yeah, Trey, when you came in here last minute, you probably brought my show notes with me today. I forgot them. And he said, "Hey, Mike, I got your show notes here." No, just kidding.
Well, we'll see if this works out in the 4th game. Is that the cover or is that actually like the win, Trey?
Oh, if I'm doing straight money line?
Yeah, if you're doing straight on this one.
Oh, you know what? Let me just probably let me see what the actual odds are, but probably I would take the Argos. In a parlay right now. I'm assuming they're going to be like
that's the degenerate gambler.
I'm probably thinking they're plus 300 right now. Let me see. If they're around plus 300, I'm taking that all day. Oh, they're only plus 185. Yeah, I'd take that still. Better than minus. So I take that because there's actually a couple underdogs I would technically take this week, and that's one. And we'll talk about another one coming up. So.
I'm going to actually go and disagree with you all. I'm going to take the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in this one here. I'm going to say that they'll win this one here. And I'm going to go with the under, though, too, because this should be a good defensive battle. Winnipeg wins in the regular season. We won't talk about the Grey Cup. Anyways, let's move on here to our last game of the week. We're finally into it. It is like Trey's been fighting with all day and all night here. It's a good old fashion cat fight. The old Hamilton Tiger Cats head on down to BC Place Stadium, take on the BC Lions. What's some notes or what's some storylines that you guys got for this game? Trey, you want to go first?
Oh, you want to talk about disrespectful lines? This is one. We could talk about that. But also, I think that, yeah, I think this one's going to be. But I think this is a big game. It's on the standings side, it might look like one. I do think one team is better than the other, and not the way the odds show. But interesting game. BC, they're coming off a couple really emotional or a big loss after coming up with a couple wins here. I don't know. I'm not sold on BC at all, and everyone knows that. I'm not. I don't know. There's a lot of talk about, was Nathan Rourke pre-NFL a blip? Was it NFL ruin him? There's a lot of different things, and I'm leaning towards the blip. Like, his good year was a blip, or the NFL might have ruined him, or pick one. But I just don't think he's quite Captain Canada like we saw back when he played however 8 games and almost won MOC or MOP. I mean, but at the other side, I think Bo is MOC or MOP. I mean, hell, give him most outstanding Canadian. He's been here long enough. I think Bo and Kenny Lawler are. Oh, they used to have a thing on CFL where they have like CFL at TSN like best quarterback receiver combos. And even though this is one season, I'd give these two that nod, right, Adam?
I don't have it.
Yeah, I would think so right now. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I know Nathan Rourke is the popular pick. He's the quarterback. He's supposed to be the face of the league, everything else. Honestly, he hasn't done nothing to really impress me so far this season. He's had some good games. I mean, he's consistent on his fantasy play. We'll talk about that a little later. But honestly, I don't think he's the MOP or the MOC for that matter right at the moment. Like I said, he's had a good season. Nothing wrong with it. But definitely not the MOP. I think there's somebody on the other side of the football at the moment that could be the MOP. Even most outstanding Canadians, there's some pretty good Canadians this season. If you look in our own fantasy league of our own, you look how many Canadians everybody's picked already this year and have on their team and actively have on their team. National is not quite the same as it used to be because, boy, there's some good Nationals. Overall, like I said, I think Nathan Rourke is a little bit overrated, but he is very consistent in your fantasy, and that's why I like him. And that's why probably Ryan is still the president of the Nathan Rourke for the Hall of Fame fan club. Mike, what do you got in this game for storyline?
The one thing I keep coming back to is Eastern teams going West and how historically they have not played well. This is also a Sunday night game, which is very rare for an East team going West. Correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe one of you guys can look this up for me. I believe Hamilton is playing somewhere else out west next week, so they might be staying out west before going back to Hamilton, which would make sense. Okay, so they're
Saturday.
Yeah, so they're probably not going home, I would imagine, which makes it a little bit more interesting. I'll be honest, I don't know what we can expect better from Nathan Rourke when he's got an offensive line that, to me, has not been great. He has an escape valve in James Butler, who, quite honestly, has bailed him out more times than not. BC's very hot and cold. They can, bring it to the Edmonton Elks, and they can beat the Montreal Canadiens, the Montreal Alouettes, on a last play field goal with that. But then you get the other opposite of the penalties, the unnecessary brawl, the extra penalties, the defense. What are you doing in that moment, right? Kind of thing. So BC is consistently inconsistent, but yet Hamilton coming out west historically has not been great for them. It's not been great any Eastern team really going west over the years. It's a very interesting game. For the reasons I just mentioned, and I know we're probably going to get into fantasy players to watch and all that. James Butler for me was a very astute pickup. Johnny Augustine seems to be getting better the more he touches the ball. I thought he had a very good game. Last game, I thought that was his best game as a tight end when he actually was able to carry the ball. Because it just seems like for whatever reason, this is a very pass-heavy lead. So, yeah, again, I think some running backs, unless your name is Brady Oliveira among others, do not get used in when the game is not in their team's favor early. And this to me will be a very close game nonetheless, no matter which way it goes. I know I'm rambling. I kind of made a case for one side or the other, and eventually I'm gonna have to pick a side, right? Because that's the way picks work.
Yeah, we may as well get into fantasy. You talked about Butler. You talked about Greg Bell. Maybe not Greg Bell, actually, Johnny Augustini.
Yeah.
Again, in the Hamilton side of the football, not sure who's going to be playing as running back right now. Could be Augustini, could be Greg Bell. If it's Augustini, great pickup right at the moment because, again, like I've said all night here, fantasy right now, if you're picking up players, you got to go for the cheap on some players. And you got to really find those value plays. And Johnny Augustini has looked better every time that he's carried the football. So if he's available, I know it's tempting to try hard to wait for till Sunday to make up a pickup, especially like in a running back spot. But boy, that might be a very good one to make. Kenny Lawler was not quite this. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, that would be a great play as a flex Adam.
Yeah.
Never mind one of your two. That would be a very good flex play. You know, if you're not comfortable at a running back, you could put him at a flex if you wanted to. Not saying I would, but the option.
It wouldn't be a bad pickup. That way you got a little bit of options in wide receiver or in wide receiver, I guess, if you did need to pick up somebody or another running back if you had to. That being said, like I said, you got to almost have a plan in place because it's so expensive right now to play a running back and then not have him play or something like that. That really would hurt a team very bad. Trey, who do you got in this one other than the guy named Kenny Lawler? Can you afford Kenny Lawler this week?
Oh, not can I only just afford Kenny Lawler, but I can afford my current MOP, Bo Levi Mitchell as my starting quarterback and captain. So that would be my play here. BC is the Bermuda Triangle still for me. Do not go. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Go straight to jail.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't mind the pick if you can get Bo and you get Kenny Lawler on your team. Boy, that's a good 1-2 pickup, that's for sure. Mike, anybody else that you got in this one that you're looking at?
For BC, a guy that has me not sure I'm going to pick him, but let's just say I would do the eyes emoji. Aiden Aberhart, to me, would be an interesting pick if you want to talk about a flex. Keon Hatcher, couple big catches. But again, you're getting into the really pricey sort of section, right? You're sort of getting into the expensive Iowa Dollarama, if you will. When you're looking for bargains. But again, it is BC at home where they historically have been better. It's a climate-controlled stadium. Would I be shocked if this one is 17-10? No. Would I be shocked if this is 41-35 between these two teams based on what the quarterbacks are capable of putting up? Absolutely not. So this may be the game of the week in all due respect to the other three games.
Yeah, this should be a real good one, I would think. Let's go over to our betting to segment. And BC, of course, -3. This is kind of a real shocker, like Trey got into earlier. You're right. I think this is disrespectful to Hamilton because they've been coming in on a roll here. I get it. They got to go to BC. I know it's BC play, get loud, and everything else. That part is a little bit tougher on Hamilton, but Hamilton is red hot right now. They've had some really good wins. They've had some very good games. And you know what? Last week was the first week that I seen Tim White actually. So give me the Hamilton Tiger Cats all day, every day at 3 above. And over under, I'm going to take the under in this one here. I think that Hamilton's going to score a lot. BC, not so much. Unless Hamilton does like the Riders do and play prevent for a whole fourth quarter. Then maybe it'll be a little different. But Trey, who out of the two kitten, or which kitten are you picking up here for this pick?
Well, real quick, Orion actually sent me his picks for the week, so I'll just go over them real quick. Game 1, he goes with Calgary, the -6.5, takes the under. The second game, he agrees with Adam that Edmonton won't get blown out by more than 10 points, so he took the +9.5 in the over. And he followed along his fellow Blue Bomber fans and took Toronto +5.5 over the Blue Bombers. But he took the over in that one. And he takes Hamilton as well. Sorry, did you take over or under, Adam? I'm trying to mark it down. You're muted too.
I took the under.
Under? Okay. You and Ryan are the same. You guys both took Hamilton and the under. I'm going to take Hamilton. I think this should be a flipped line, if not more. I'm going to take the over, though, because I still think BC might put up some points. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 40-30 game, kind of thing like that. And this game comes, one of those games. This could be a game that's close right down to the end, and then either team just kind of gets up a touchdown kind of late kind of game. Mike, what do you got?
No, I agree with you. I think it to be an over. I could get with a 40-30 type of game. But more the other way. I think like a 40-20 score line and then some garbage time touchdowns on the part of the BC Lions. I think too, and I pardon me if this was already discussed. I think anywhere 3-ish is basically a pick up one way or another. Historically in football, in my experience, the home team is automatically at a -3 just with the home field advantage, maybe. But
yeah,
for the most part, this would be a pick 'em. And no, I think Hamilton finds a way, despite everything I said about the East going west and that kind of thing. And hey, it's Bully by Mitchell taking on a former divisional foe. So lights up. Let's go, to use a Blue Jay frame and Blue Jay phrase. And lights up. Let's go to probably the game of the week here.
Oh, you're muted, Adam.
Mike, are you going over or under? I didn't get that.
He said over.
Over, yeah.
Trey, you went over with Hamilton?
Yep. Oh, bless your soul. You're trying to keep track of it all? Because I got it all.
Oh, I actually put it all in the episode planning doc, which is nice. Finally, I actually learned what I'm doing.
So the week you did it is when I showed up because I have it done, and I just need to know who the coins got. Do they got Tie Cats or Lions?
It has got the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He's giving me grief all the time, I tell you. Finally go and do it, and he goes and gives me grief. Well, I deserve it. Anyways, let's move here. You know what? It should be a pretty good game. You're right, Mike. I think this might be the game of the week. Although I am looking also at that Toronto-Winnipeg one, Battle of the Grey Cup from last year. So that could be a pretty good one as well. Let's move on to our Fantasy League update. First things first, if you guys want to pull up yours in the meantime, Trey, I'll go through the CFL Podcast Fantasy League. He just wins, makes a team, wins, repeats. That's all he ever does, it seems. He's no fun to play against. He beat Safamod in a battle of 1 and 2 this week over in the Podcast Fantasy League. But he did only win by 1.3 points, looks like. Just barely snuck it out, but he did sneak it out and he did win. So kudos to Ryan. Trey, you lost against Daltz for the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast. Not bad, though, 99 to 121. And I managed to be Commissioner Kayla from the Turf District, 92 to 107. I didn't have a great week, but you know what? It was a high-scoring week. Everybody was Greg from the Piffles podcast actually scored the highest score of the week with, I think it was 125 points. So, yeah, he had a pretty good week. Standing-wise, of course, Ryan's on the top, 7-0. Lost a game. Probably won't lose one. You never know with him. Myself, actually, I'm moving up in the world. I'm in 5th place, tied with a few other podcasters for 5 and 2. And Trey, you are currently in 7th place, still in the playoffs at 4. Definitely looking good right now. All 3 podcasters of us are in the playoffs. If it was today, but
what's Ryan? What's Ryan in that league?
First. He hasn't lost.
That's wild. Unless my standing is wrong, he's 12th in the Discord.
Well, why don't you go through their Discord here for us?
That's wild. I got to double check that. Because, this week, Ryan loses to our buddy Brandon. And, Mike gets the win over Jeremy. You got 101 there. Adam, you lose to Charlie.
Here's the thing. I had the 12th highest score of the week, and Jeremy had the 14th. Tell me how that made sense sometimes.
Well, yeah. It is what it is because I only lost by 6 points to No Good and Overbeast. So the standings, actually, right now, out of us, I'm the only one in the playoffs because in this league, only top 7 makes it. I'm 6th, tied for 6th. Mike, you're in that tie as well at 4 and 3. You're just missing out due to points. Adam, you're 2 and 5. You're sitting 15th due to tiebreaker. You are tied with Ryan at 2 and 5. That's how crazy this Discord league is, where Ryan's 2 and 5, sitting 12th. Exact same lineup that he picks in the podcast league. And that one, again, I always say so-called experts because we decide to be idiots that start a podcast. That league gets like guys getting 70 points. Where this one, the lowest score of the week was like 90, and this was an off week. So anyway,
our Discord community, man.
Yeah, so currently we got 2 guys at 5 and 2 leading the way. That's Josh M and No Good Noverby. And a handful of guys are at 2 and 5 on the basement. Ryan, you, our buddy FM fan, K Sizzle, and Larry are all at 2 and 5 looking for the first overall draft pick next year. And for what that's worth.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, let's face it, our Discord community, man, they can pick them. I can tell you that. They are tough to play against. Our own podcast fantasy league, I'll just quickly run through that.
We don't have to talk about it.
A couple deals were made today. What's that?
We don't have to talk about it. Ryan's up 100 points. Give him the crown. Yeah. Let's just call it a season. I don't care.
I like my crown. The crown's nice. I like it where it is.
He just, it's like, okay, we do this. It happens in horse racing a lot. The best horse will randomly lose one week because if you win too many in a row, you'll get like exiled. That's all Ryan did. He's like, I can't beat these idiots 5 years in a row, so I got to lose one. And now he's back.
He figured out, pick the guy from Saskatchewan. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, you know what? Yeah, Ryan's out big in our league right now. Trey's in second. What do you have right now against back from him? 70, 75 points or something.
I
have 120 points back of Ryan. Mike's back just a little bit behind me. You know what? it's going to be a nice battle for second place. Let's hope one of us gets it. We're just, you know what? Some people live to try to beat to Ryan. Most of us just live in Ryan's basque when it comes to the private fantasy league. So, yeah, there's a few transactions made today. Mike, I think mostly you were involved in like all of them except for one. You want to run through them real fast?
Ryan's too busy. Ryan's been busy on the IR. He's been busy cooking stuff up in the lab, so his IR eligibility might have to be questioned.
Yeah, he's still working behind the scenes. He's putting definitely the practice in, that's for sure. So let's move on to Sup, Why Don't We? It's been already an hour and a half or a little bit more. When we always say we're going to do a 1 hour podcast, it's an hour and a half. We all know that. We'll be back again, though, next week with the Week 9 preview. Of course, we'll have a little bit more Week 8 info. If there's something interesting that happens, we'll let you know. In the meantime, you can definitely follow us on Twitter at Canadian Football Podcast Pod, CFC Countdown Pod, I should say. Or you can go to Facebook at facebook.com/CFC Countdown Pod. You can also check out all the great shows from the Canadian Football Network as well at CFC Podcast Network on Twitter and the Alternative Football Network at Official AFN on Twitter or alternativefootballnetwork.com. Trey, I guess you're still here. Mike had to step out for a quick second. How can people find you when they're looking for you on social media?
Find me at the X at Trey MB Harness. Always got something going on there.
Absolutely. Myself, you can find me at Adam Stewart 1. Yeah, maybe you want to look at farm photos or me cutting hay, I guess. Pretty much that's what's about. Also, maybe way on time, I have a CFL opinion. I know a few people were kind of questioning me over on the Facebook about the Deshaun Amos theory I've got, even though Trey and Mike both think I'm crazy. I'm right. They just don't want to admit it yet. Anyways, you can also find Ryan. He's working on getting back and ready to go here, but you can find him at Cooper Trooper 42 whenever you get the that. Mike, I think he's still stepped out here. You can find him at Mike Garrell, or you can definitely look him up as well over on the other Game Time TV networks. Oh, he still has his hockey podcast going as well. Off season, don't matter. He'll still do some. Make sure you check that out as well. Yeah, we're a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast. We brought up the Canadian Alternative Football Network. Be sure to go and check us out wherever you can find us. You can find us over on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on all the other good channels. Make sure you do all the stuff and like, subscribe, comment, and do all those good things. On behalf of Michael Garrell, who's still not around, Trey Colbeck, and myself, we want to thank you very much for listening. Have a good one. Have a good week, Kate. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.